My name is Sechaba Kou. I'm a civil engineer by trade. I'm also the managing director of ISAO Consulting. We are a multi-disciplinary consulting entity. My background has pretty much always been in consulting engineering, and at the time that I attended the BCE course, which was in 2016, I was with another consulting engineering company where I was, let's call it a middle manager being groomed for senior management. And really in 2016, as I alluded to before, my development up to then was just focused on the technical entities of my craft. And I got out of the BCE the nuts and bolts that make running a business work, including the legal side, the financial side, as well as running a project. There's also content on being a good engineer, but what was most valuable for me was the business side of it, of the BCE.
My name is Itai Gonese, and I'm a professional electrical engineer. I attended the course pretty much the same time with Sechaba. That was in 2016, from March to November. Basically, the course covered all aspects of the works that we do, which entails on the financial side, that's your fees and general knowledge on the, pretty much on the finance, as well as the legal side, for which in our case, you're looking at contractual agreements that we normally get ourselves into. Then there's the project management side of things, which is basically the core function of our industry. And then there's a communication part of things as well, to deal with our interaction with the different stakeholders that we normally get ourselves involved in projects. So I think in terms of benefiting from that course, it sort of gives an overview of all those elements, of which I, for myself, I find them very useful in our day-to-day handling of projects. At the time I attended the course, I was working for a different firm, of which a few years later, I'm no longer with that firm, and I'm basically doing consulting services, and we do work with ISAO on some projects. Then basically that's how we sort of established that relationship, and we just hope to grow from strength to strength as we go along. That's my story.
I attended the BCE program a year after Sechaba and Itai. Basically, I think most of the skills that are taught in college and varsity, for example, give you the technical know-how. And for us in the engineering field, that may not be all that you need. We learned some other skills, soft skills, if you may, that will help us to work well in the field. How we can, for example, deliver a project in time. What are the duties that we need to do? The administrative parts where someone with the technical may not really know, and also just running the business itself as a consultant. I think in the end it equipped us with the ability to pretty much be a business on your own, and apply the technical skills that you have acquired, and yet run a business successfully and deliver projects to the satisfaction of the clients. Over and above that, we've been working with other professionals you get the skills to relate with those professionals, how to give information. For example, we learned a lot about report writing. Earlier, we just think just writing something, but the skills that we got there would make you provide a report that would easily be read by whoever is going to read it and can communicate the facts succinctly. So in the end, the skills that we got there, law, for example, now we have an appreciation of how all that we do is to fit into the legal framework. And every now and again, we get to sign contracts. Reading it and understanding it, we can now have an idea of what we are signing up for example, even though we may need to consult a lawyer in some cases, but the basic understanding of the implications of your signature, for example, in a document, are quite well understood. And all that came because of our attending the BCE course.
So ISAO Consulting is a multidisciplinary engineering company. The company was formed in March 2019. It existed previously in a different format, but it really started trading and taking the form that is in now in the end of March, April 2019, where I essentially resigned from my previous company and established this outfit in its current form. We provide, as I said, civil, structural, electrical, and mechanical engineering services, and obviously the complementary project management. And as it relates to my relationship with these gentlemen, it was really just a natural progression from our having established an interest to work together from BCE, which went through its paces, and it initially probably just started as either one of us being approached by perhaps a private developer to do some work and asking, do you also know a civil engineer? Do you also know a mechanical engineer? And the three of us, in fact, I want to say the four of us, because I was expecting Tolo to be here as well, started working together like that, but obviously then in a non-structured manner. So ISAO Consulting was just a more, let's call it the next progression, where we set up a long-term, let's call it working relationship that is intentional to utilize each other as resources on our respective projects. So yeah, that's the short background of ISAO Consulting. It's a very young outfit, but as Itai mentioned, we look forward to growing from strength to strength going forward.
Well, most definitely, I would recommend it, especially to the young engineers who join consulting firms, maybe straight from varsity, so that they get that background information which is not normally taught in class or in universities, because with this course it's more practical, and the tutors usually people from the industry. So whatever that they are imparting onto the attendees is practical knowledge. So I believe it's very useful to those that are coming straight from varsity, and also those that are working towards their professional registration. Because if you look at the structure of the professional registration, it has different outcomes and elements which need to be satisfied. And once someone has that background knowledge of the overall consulting business, it becomes a bit easy for them to complete those competencies. So I think from that aspect, that's my as point of why I would recommend it to the young engineers. And also for those that have been in the industry, it helps them to have that sort of refresher courses, as well as to understand some elements that one would just take for granted, because you'd be surprised that some of those that have been practicing engineering, for instance, maybe after 15, 20 years, they wouldn't be up to date with, say, some changes that would have happened, whether it's the contractual or maybe even on the financial side. So it sort of gives you that refresher course, and makes you a better engineer.